Hilchos Sukkah, Perek, Shishi, Halacha, Aleph. Until now we discussed what page in that?
320.
320. Until now we discussed the
Are we on Monday
construction.
now?
Yes. Until now we discussed the construction. Now we're going to talk about who's chayiv
We're on Wednesday.
in Sukkah. Halacha, Aleph. Nashim, Bava, Katanim, women, slaves, and people under bar mitzvah, permanent Sukkah, under bas mitzvah, are not obligated to mitzvah of Sukkah. Of course, it's a time-related mitzvah. It's only on special times of the year, and therefore women are not mechuyev. That's the rule of thumb. A person who we don't know if they're male or female, either because their genitalia is covered by a skin overgrowth, like a tumtum, or androgynous is someone again who has both features and the whole species is in doubt. If it's a male, he's mechuyev. Therefore, out of doubt, he has to do the mitzvah of Sukkah. The principle is, if you have a doubt regarding the derayos, you have to be machmir. So if you might be a male, you have to do the Sukkah. In that example, you had someone who's half free, half slave. You have two people jointly own a slave. One of them frees him. Now he's half free, half slave. So his slave half does not have to be the Sukkah, but his free half has to be the Sukkah. So therefore, chayav, he has to be the Sukkah. He can't split himself up into two people. A child who's old enough, he no longer requires his mother constantly. Is that what it says about you as well? He's 5 or 6 years old. So that, again, it seems to be child specific. Some kids are mature a little earlier. He's chayav.
Pretty young.
Yeah. So again, that could be that yeah. So it could be that this depends on on the child. It could be on the era. Maybe today they're a little older. It's not clear exactly what's together of no longer needing your mother. Yeah, back then you were 5 years old. You helped with the red baby. It was like
you went to work.
Yeah, right. Yeah, good. But
it's not a burden. You were an asset.
So the chayr depends on the mitzvah of chinuch. But over here, the mitzvah of chinuch, Rambam gives the guideline of 5 to 6. I didn't see anywhere with a pasuk in question this age, but okay. People who are sick and those who attend to the people who are sick are part of the sukkah. Now this mistam is because the chayla is somebody who's not comfortable with the sukkah, yeah, okay, that's the bird. The chayla is a type of illness where the sukkah is more difficult. It's cold. If it's ingrown toenail, a lot of it's going to depend. All right, difference. Not only a person who's sick dangerously. He has a headache. He has an eye ache. So therefore, these are all examples of where he's potter. Mitzvah, a person who's uncomfortable. Potter and sukkah, he's potter from the sukkah. So who will him? But the people who are attending to him, they are not potter because the fact that he's uncomfortable.
He can stay home for a little bit.
He can stay home. It doesn't impact them exactly. What's the get of somebody who's uncomfortable? He's unable to sleep in the sukkah. Now I'm an example of sleeping rather than eating because of course sleeping is more sensitive. Because of the wind, because of the flies, operation, or the other kinds of bugs, because of the smell. The smell could be either because of the environment or the schach itself.
That's not good.
Right. So but not the schach has a bad smell. He's very, very extremely screaming. Yeah, by his incidents. So exactly. Right. These are all examples where he's talking about the star. All right. A person who's in Aval is chayav b'sukkah. So even though a person who's in Aval is uncomfortable, he's not comfortable. So his comfort is not sukkah related per se. So even though he might feel that because it's an unfamiliar environment or things like that, so he's less able he's less comfortable in the sukkah. It's not that the sukkah itself. He's expected to compose himself and concentrate and fulfill the mitzvah. In halacha talk in Nachum Shulchan Aruch it says that he's more makel, but that one is machnar on all. The chasan, someone who got married in the past 7 days. Or if it's the second time for both of them, the past 72 hours, 3 days. And the people who are, being Samech with him, the people who are b'nei chuppah, the wedding party. They're put in the sukkah for all 7 days because the chassan part means he's involved in the mitzvah of being Samech his wife, getting married. Wow. Usually a sukkah is too small for the idea of the wedding celebration, the Shem Brachos. Also, a chassan has to get Samech with his wife, and she's part of the sukkah, and maybe she's not comfortable, so it's not a fire place. Therefore, they're both part of the sukkah. Now, this is only when they're being Mesamech the chassan, not the whole 7 days. If there's a break from the Farbrengen, it's the 7th day Farbrengen, they have to eat the sukkah. All right. Dalet. Shluchei mitzvah. Those who are on the way to they're traveling to a mitzvah. Tomen sukkah, they are part of the sukkah. Day and night. Because even at night, when they're not necessarily traveling, they're trying to busy think about how to do the mitzvah. It's in Shmuel, for example, or maybe because going to sleep in the sukkah. They won't be as rested. They won't be as good.
They're not at home. And no sukkah. They can't.
So no. Even if there's a sukkah available for this, it's still part. Yeah. Those who travel by day, they're part by day. Because even when you live in your house, you leave your house by day to travel sometimes during the year. So even though you treat your sukkah as your house, but you sometimes leave it to travel. At nighttime, when they're not traveling, they have to sit in the sukkah like you do during the year. Those who travel at nighttime, they part at nighttime. But during the day, they have to eat in the sukkah. Those who are guarding the city during the day, the day watchmen. They're part of the sukkah by daytime, but at nighttime when they are not watching the chayiv. The night watchmen in the city. They're part at nighttime. But during the day, they are chayiv. Those who are guarding the orchards and the gardens. They're part of the sukkah. Day or night. Why? The Hashem makes a sukkah in the orchard. I'm talking about an orchard, it's very large. He knows the guys in that orchard. He knows he can go to the other side, steal. And this is very interesting. This comes out that because of a monetary concern, he's part of a sukkah. Which is very interesting. I don't have an explanation as to why this monetary.
Not because his. If it was his money, maybe not. But it's about us.
So you're saying if I watch your garden, you watch my garden, we're both part. You watch our own gardens with Chaim. Okay, interesting. Maybe I don't know. It says a gardener. It doesn't say who hired it, but yeah, okay. The Shofar applies to anybody. I mean, but okay.
As far as that, he's an Ovid, that he's working for somebody.
He's employed.
Yeah.
He's employed, as opposed to watching a favor.
Yeah. Good, fine. Again, this is a case where it's a large space. If you just garden one large pile of wheat, then you can see everything. It's not like, hey, Kate said mitzvah is your sukkah. What is this mitzvah of dwelling in the sukkah? How exactly do you do it? You should eat, drink, and dwell. What means dwell? It's a very general term. In the sukkah, kol shivas yamim, the entire 7 days of sukkahs. Day and night. As you live in your house, other days of the year. So the sukkah is your house. The roof is different. That's all it is. That's what a sukkah is. Rambam didn't say sleeping, actually, which is funny. He says sleeping in the next halacha.
He spoke about sleeping before.
Right.
Where?
That he said
In the sky.
Oh, right.
Is
Right. But here he's laying down a definition of what is the mitzvah. So he doesn't say sleeping. He'll say it soon. We'll say that's an interesting point. I'll try to touch upon that. Good, but this is exactly the mitzvah of sukkah. Basically means to treat like your regular house. Which essentially means like nowadays like a living room or dining room or bedroom, because a closet is in your house, but it's a storage compartment. It's not the same thing. Okay, or kitchen also is not considered a dwelling. It's where you prepare the food. During the 70s, the sukkah, the person makes his house. Excuse me, he makes his house a temporary place, an unusual place to live. But his sukkah, that's his standard go-to for living. Shemar, it says, sukkah station, when sukkahs you should dwell, for 7 days. Keta, for example, what does it mean to make your sukkah your primary dwelling? Nice vessels, nice bedding. The sukkah should be the sukkah. The things the kelim you drink from, you're going to shishas, the kreses. Shishas are like our cups, kinds of cups. Kreses are like a crystal kind of cups. A sukkah again should also be the sukkah. That's in your house you have nice dishes. In your side house you have maybe paper disposable. The sukkah should have the proper dishes. The things you use to eat, it's like pans and plates. Those should be outside the sukkah. Obviously, while you're eating, you have to have it in the sukkah, but that means after you're eating. When you finish drinking, you can leave the cup there. It's considered like a nice thing to have. A plate, 30 plates, it's not so nice. A candelabra you have, which was the old-fashioned chandelier.
A lantern.
Right. That's sukkah, should be in the sukkah. So the Rambam says, if it's a small sukkah, be outside the sukkah because of a fire hazard. Yeah. So according to the Rambam, we're talking about like the vartis could be very nice, but if it's a fire hazard. Right. So other Rishonim will differentiate. They say the chalal, they don't differentiate the size because they say around the assumption is the Gemara is talking about a earthenware lamp, which is not a nice thing to have. So it's but that was the chalal. So the Chayim would agree if it's an ugly lamp, you shouldn't bring it inside. Say again.
It doesn't belong there.
Right. Vav. To have it, you have to have light though. So you have it close by. Okay. Now here the Rambam of sleeping. Here we eat and drink, yeshin and sleep. The sukkah called Shiva all 7 days. Day and night. But also mashma, it's a chiyuv, but he doesn't say it as a chiyuv per se. which means that basically the way it's understood, I believe, by Dr. Shofar is that the according to Rambam, there's no you're not even kind of mitzvah living in the sukkah when you sleep there. There's an issue to sleep outside the sukkah. The maybe gets to sleep in the sukkah, but it's not the mitzvah of sleeping in the sukkah. It's not. So which fits very well with the concept that if you're mitzvah from sleeping in the sukkah, you go inside, but you eat in the sukkah. You're not lacking in your yeshiva sukkah. You did teishu came to do. You live in the sukkah like your house. The fact you're not sleeping there doesn't subtract from the fact you did the mitzvah, because the sleeping is not part of the mitzvah. It's just there's an issur to sleep outside the sukkah. But mainly, if you eat in the sukkah, you're doing the teishu came to do properly because you ate there. That's the main part of living. In our house, we eat and we sleep, but the eating is more of a living statement than the sleeping. Okay. You're not allowed to eat a meal outside the sukkah for all 7 days, which means basically food from the 5 grains. How much of the zionist? Unless it was a temporary snack. Habetz the size of an egg, or pachas or less, or yasamap or a drop more. You're not allowed to sleep outside the sukkah, even a nap. So eating a snack, you can eat outside the sukkah, but sleeping, even a temporary nap, you cannot do, because a nap, even a short nap, like everyone knows you can take a 20-minute nap in the work day, it revives you. It's really significant. A snack is not considered significant if it's too small, but a nap can be significant even if it's a very short nap. You're allowed to drink water and eat produce, eat fruits outside the sukkah. Someone who's machmir is stringent, so does not drink even water outside the sukkah. He is praiseworthy. So, famous question is, the Babash Chassidim, we don't even drink water outside the sukkah, even when it's raining, even Shmiyat Seres, but sleeping, we don't sleep in the sukkah. So Rabbi explains that because the Bitter speaks about the gloom of Makifafina are so intense, so sleeping in the sukkah is something which she feels inappropriate, and if it doesn't feel inappropriate, that itself is a tsar. The fact I can sleep here, knowing that Al-Kus is mayor, doesn't bother me, that's the biggest tsar. How is it possible that being in touch with the premise of the mitzvah prevents you from doing the mitzvah properly if you have a chit to sleep there? So the answer is that when you eat in the sukkah, you're fulfilling the mitzvah of living there completely 100%, even though you're not sleeping there, because since you have a valid head not to sleep there, whether, let's say, example, if you're a mistah because of the smell, or in this case because of the elikus, the fact that you have a valid head not to sleep there makes you eating there your house 100%. So you're not lacking the mitzvah. That's what
we don't sleep in sukkah because elikus is mitzvah us. We do it out of respect for the Chabad Nesiim.
So that's the first part.
What we phonies?
That's the first part. But the question is, how is it possible that being in touch with the previous, the middle Rebbe didn't sleep in the sukkah?
But that's what we're accepting. We're accepting the fact what the middle Rebbe is.
This question was asked.
How is it possible?
But you think every person feels my kingdom divina, so that kufa should be your time.
Exactly. But the bigger question is, the middle Rebbe was in touch with the mitzvah. Let's agree he was in touch with the mitzvah the best possible way, right? How is it possible?
Let's say that zikr that was
right. So that's the question. How is it possible that prevented him from fulfilling the mitzvah properly? Is that a little bit strange? So
for us, not for somebody that's Messiah.
No, for him it's strange. It's strange. A person who reaches that madrega suddenly now is not doing mitzvah properly. It can't do it properly. Hashem made it in a way that he's bred to do mitzvah properly. So I said the answer is that when you eat there, you fulfill. This is the word Mesicha. You fulfilling teishu you can do 100% because even though eating and sleeping are both fundamental things of living, but eating is more than sleeping. So provide there's a valid heter not to sleep there, whatever reason it may be. In this case, alakus. So achila takes care of the problem.
And it's interesting. The lashon the Rambam is by ein yeshein, not like oser lechel the chutzul sukkah, but it doesn't say oser lishan chutzul sukkah ein yeshein.
Right. Yeah. Although later he does say. Now what does he say? He says.
It doesn't say oser lishan.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. Good. Allah.
I heard if you don't sleep in the sukkah, you have to say l'chaim 2 times each day.
If you say too much l'chaim, you're gonna have someone to watch you, but I think you shouldn't fall asleep in the sukkah. You should fall asleep.
My understanding is the Rebbe's father slept in the sukkah, so the Rebbe didn't want to not sleep in the sukkah. So he wouldn't sleep in the sukkah. So he sat and looked the whole night. Put his head down every half an hour for 2 minutes. And that's why the pictures you call in, on his eyes, the bags are like as big as garbage bags. Look at the pictures of Cholomid. It's very clear. His eyes are Allah Chazayin. There's a chiyuv to eat in the sukkah on the first night of sukkahs. Even if he ate 1 kazayas of bread, that's your chiyuv. You can't make a rishus. So they're on a chiyuv to rishus. So the rest of the echel suda said so. If you want to eat the suda, you have to eat the sukkah. If you want to spend the whole sukkah eating nothing but potatoes, fine, eat in the house. But the first night you have to eat a kazayas and you have to eat the sukkah.
Same concept as matzah.
Right. Kadina fills matzah pesach. Matzah pesach. And by the way, people don't know this. Just like you're not allowed to eat matzah on Pesach, erev Pesach, you're not allowed to eat the sukkah, erev sukkah. It's the Shofar. Well, that's me. Yeah, because it's yeah, we saw 100%. I mean, I think the Alter Rebbe Shofar for sure. It says in the Beit says Shofar for the Alter Rebbe. I think I'm pretty sure Alter Rebbe. I'm almost positive. Yes, because it's Gzeir Shavah. The same we don't know from the sukkah. Someone who was in the sukkah and his head and the majority of his body in the sukkah, but his table was beside in his house out of the sukkah. Point is that it wasn't the sukkah. He's eating this way, so he has a table and he takes it from the sukkah. He leans in, he's mostly in, and his food is his table's over here. He's eating. I raise it also. It's also if he did not eat the sukkah. Unless his table is in the sukkah. Why? Worried he's going to kind of go toward the table and he's not going to end up eating the sukkah. It's a big sukkah. You're not allowed to do that. You have to have the majority of the person in the sukkah and you have to have the table in there as well. Right, but as long as your table's in the sukkah with you. Yeah. Test. Person doing the 7 sukkahs when he learns Torah. Teshuk Sav Kerr refers to Teshuk Sav Iker, but the following Torah, he should do so in the sukkah. When he's contemplating and thinking about it and being powerful, then Yalvin the Chutzah should do it outside the sukkah. You should have a clear mind to contemplate and delve in the matter. A person davens and he's not for whatever reason he's not shul, or there's no shul in the city he lives in. But also if he wants to mispal the sukkah, he davens in the sukkah or Chutzah or outside, whichever way you have better kapah. Well, for good.
Because Rambam saying that the you shouldn't make a minion in the sukkah.
A minion is not so. You know what? You make a good point. It says, if you daven, you can daven in the sukkah or out of the sukkah. It doesn't say wait, someone minion yechid. It's the same thing. The chayra, if you, I mean, he says the word is the chayra, whichever way the kavanah is better. So you're asking if the minion is outside the sukkah, but your kavanah. If the minion is in the sukkah, you better come outside the sukkah. We should daven. I'm not sure. It's not the minion. The chayra, yeah. I think he's talking about Yachid. I think. This whole idea of a minion outside of shul is like it's like a very new thing. It never existed in most generations. I think not in the shul, Yordu Yisham, if it starts raining, says Hilchos Techabais, you go into the house. At what point do we say he's allowed to leave the sukkah and go in the house? Right? When the first drop comes, how much? When enough drops comes from the sukkah, that if they would fall into a dish, the dish would become possible. Even a dish of beans which gets spoiled very easily by water, that's the amount you could say that now you can go in the house. Eating in the sukkah, and then starts raining. And it was enough that you went to your house because it was enough, it was a lot of rain. Now it stopped raining. You have to go back outside. You do not need to return to the sukkah. What's the next word by you guys? Until he finishes his meal. So he's not a chuyev to go mid-meal back to the sukkah. Once you went inside during the meal, you're allowed to finish the meal inside the house as well. If you were sleeping in the sukkah and it started raining at nighttime, and then they went to the house, it stopped raining. He doesn't have to go back to the sukkah in the middle of the night. That entire night. He can sleep in his house until dawn. The Rambam holds taka after dawn. You have to get up and go back to the sukkah. Other than that, the Shulchan Aruch is more. The Rambam is more mikol. But the Rambam holds, that once dawn comes, that now it's if it stops raining and it's already ready dawn, you have to get up and go back to the sukkah. The person finishes eating on the 7th day of Sukkot in the morning, and now it's the last day of Sukkot, right? So this is 7 days matter. The 8th day Shnei Atzeres, which is different. Lo Yata Sukkah, you should not take apart his Sukkah, which is interesting because the Chayda. I'm sorry, good, because it's Chol Moed there to show the 7 days Sukkot. So it's not it's Hashem Rabbah, and that's a that is
no Hashem Rabbah is the 6th day. Hashem Rabbah is the 6th day. By us, Shmini Atzeres is their 7th day.
Right, but that's what it is. After Hashem Rabbah, it's no longer. They don't.
So good. Even Chutzlar. Sorry. So yeah, so point is, Hoshana Rabbah is the 7th day, but by them it's for sure the last day of Sukkot, and it's Chol Hamoed. They don't need the Sukkah. They don't need the Sukkah the next day. So the question is, can you take apart your Sukkah on the Hoshana Rabbah after the first meal in the morning? So the other question is not taken apart. And the reason why is not because I think it's because of you might need it during the day because the whole day you have to eat the Sukkah. But from the afternoon onwards, you already know you're not going to eat anymore. Like later in the day, so you can start taking things back from the Sukkah.
Doesn't matter. It's Israel over here.
No, so over here, if you the same thing applies. If you eat the Sukkah Shmirat says for sure you have to have.
So you go to bar park, you see Sukkah's coming down Hoshana Rabbah.
Really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because they don't hold that like we
So
do.
What do you mean?
The Pel Shavel, they go in Leil Shmei Atzeres and the Zenetzach with the Sukkah.
before Shmirat Atzeres.
No.
No, some people eat.
We do a Shmirat Atzeres in the afternoon. They do a Shmirat
No,
Atzeres.
they
Hoshana
go.
Rabbah is a meal in the Sukkah. You have to eat the Sukkah.
Yeah, but Leil Shmei Atzeres, they go in and the Zenetzach. I don't know if they make Kiddush there.
The Sukkah's coming down on bar park.
Okay, listen, you can find all kinds of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could
we do
start.
Hidurim. That's what it is.
You can start taking things back in the house.
The Hidurim.
Robbie getting ready for this. Yeah, maybe not.
So apparently, you see that the Vord is having your kalim.
The party is beginning.
Yeah, it's Hilchos.
So it seems that from the Gemara and
By
Sukkah,
them too, but they're not using the
Vord
Sukkah
is
for it. That's
having the kalim in the Sukkah, having the kalim in the Sukkah is like part of the mitzvah of living in the Sukkah. So the whole 7 days of Sukkah until the 7th day is over, having your kalim in the Sukkah is appropriate, and having it up is appropriate. So even though you're not in it, but having the Sukkah up and having the kalim in most of the day is part of the mitzvah. That's why you're supposed to not take your kalim out or take the Sukkah down B'chlal, and take your kalim out Minachal Ma'ila. So therefore, you should have your kalim towards the end of the day. But the Sukkah itself, it sounds like when the Rambam should be up till the 7 days over. At that point, you can't take it down because it's already in the Yom Tov. You don't have a place to take your kalim. So now here's the problem. That night is Shmirat Atzeres. Now in Eretz Yisrael, Shmirat Atzeres is for sure not Sukkos. Just like for us, Simchas Torah, in Eretz Yisrael, Shmirat Atzeres, you're not allowed to eat the Sukkah. It's Baal Teis if you add the mitzvah. So what you do? So if you don't, if you have if you don't have a place in the Makom Lefanis, if you don't have a place to put the kalim, so you should open in the Sukkah a portion of the schach for to make the statement that you're not using it for the sake of the mitzvah.
Because there's Shmini Atzeres, Simchas Torah is the same night in Eretz Yisrael.
No, yeah, exactly.
By us, it's 2 separate nights.
So if you have a place to put the kalim, the fact that you came out of the Sukkah means you're not going to be using it, or it shows you're not planning on dwelling there. But here, if you're going to end up, if you have no place to put your kalim, so you need to eat, drink on Yom Tov Shmirat Atzeres, you're going to end up using your Sukkah with your kalim. How do you make sure that you're not being over maltasive on keeping staying in the Sukkah next day? So you have to take a part of the stock. Another case is if you have to eat there if the rest of the day of Hoshana Rabbah, so you must eat in the Sukkah. The mitzvah is all 7 days. The person can't take apart the schach, so you have to do other things to make a statement that it's not for the mitzvah, like bringing in a large pot that's dirty or a large commercial garbage can, things like that. So many people, if I'm bringing the Sukkah, it's a big problem. You have to do that. So you should do something to make sure that you pass on the Sukkah. So a large dirty pot of shalom, it shows it's not like you would have your dining. It's not nice. That's a way of showing that you're not using the Sukkah as like a nice dining room. It's not like
it's interesting, because in our houses, can I heard this Orchim, this Bachman, they need a place to bring. So sometimes they go into the Sukkah on Simchas Torah because of a lack. It's very comfortable there.
It's nice. I do it.
You're not supposed to do that.
Right. So if you do, you should make something to show the stock.
There's no problem to do it on Yom Tov to
No, so you should do it before Yom Tov, right? If you're going to use the space on Yom Tov, you could have a go do it maybe.
Hoshana Rabbah in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Hoshana Rabbah you could.
No, but they don't want.
No, right.
But by us, that's a problem because we're using it.
Right. So that's why moving the stock is not good for
But by us, it's not good.
Garbage can you wouldn't have your dining like a big garbage can or a large pot that's dirty. Put in the Sukkah, and this is a way of showing you it's not getting to do.
Throws up.
Exactly.
You might need that garbage can.
Good base.
Never get rid of a big garbage can outside your Sukkah.
Whenever you go into the Sukkah, all the 7 days of Sukkah, you go inside the Sukkah. Before you sit down and make the bracha, this is what the Sfardim have to do. If you ever had a Sfardi by your Sukkah, they do this. As soon as they walk in the Sukkah, they sit down and make the bracha before Kiddush. And we do it before we eat. The first night of Sukkah.
So what are you saying? That there's an inyan to say Leishit Pasukah even if you don't eat, even if you're just going to get to sit?
No, so the Rambam says when you go inside.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know if they do that, but the fact that they go inside for the Yontif meal, the Sfardim, they come inside, they sit down, they make a bracha Leishit Pasukah.
Right away.
Right away. Mevarech. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah.
So it's
Not
not
in Kiddush, basically.
Right, exactly. So maybe the first night they want to say Shechiyanu on it. Maybe they do it. I don't know, but the rest of the sukkahs for sure they don't. They walk in, sit down with their meal, sit down with the sukkah. Then they, figure out who's sitting where and what's for dinner. The first night of sukkah, shake a bracha on the sukkah. Afterwards, you say Shechiyanu. And all the brachas should be done on a cup of kiddush. So why do you say Shechiyanu last? The pashut pshat is because you make the bracha of the mitzvah and then Shechiyanu. So what's the mitzvah that night? The mitzvah of Sukkah and the mitzvah of Yontif.
Yeah.
So Kiddush is Yontif.
Qadr is Kedem.
So Shechiyanu is nichlal, all those in
So
Yontif.
Qadr Kedem say Shechiyanu should go first. But
You're saying it together with the Yontif.
Right. So because you want the Shechiyanu to cover both brachas, and Brich mitzvah goes first, you say bracha on the mitzvah of Yontif, which is Kiddush, the bracha on Sukkah, which is Leishit Pasukah, and then you say Shechiyanu. So the second night taka, you say the bracha of Shechiyanu first, and then Leishit Pasukah for that reason, because the Shechiyanu is more common. And also because the second night, the Shechiyanu is not for the Yontif, it's for the mitzvah of, it's not for the Sukkah, it's for the mitzvah of the Rabbanan of Yontif Sheshagoyes. So
This is a big chiddush. You walk into the Sukkah and you make. I understand, but according to the way that I'm saying, what exactly is the bracha chal? Just by sitting down on the chair
exactly.
in the Sukkah?
Because the mitzvah is you're doing the mitzvah when you sit in the Sukkah. Even though we also say a bracha when we eat, the mitzvah of Sukkah is to just when you go inside.
Because the bracha itself is Leishit.
That's right.
And if you go inside to sleep,
so why isn't a bracha on sleeping? So the Shulchan Aruch says because the bracha for achila, that's the main dwelling is eating, not sleeping. That covers everything. But in a chanami, if you the din is if you make a bracha and you wash and you make Leishit Pasukah in this Sukkah, you have in mind to bench by your neighbor. You go to his house. You're not and all you do is drink mashka and water. You don't eat anything. You say Leishit Pasukah in his Sukkah because your Leishit Pasukah in this Sukkah doesn't cover that Sukkah. So that's why that's what you do.
You grab that kind of zenders and a coffee, go to the Sukkah and stand and say Leishit Pasukah.
Yeah.
You could stand. This is really sit. But in 770, they had to have two sukkahs because library bridge divides them. Those are two separate sukkahs. If you make a bracha Leishit Pasukah in one, if you go afterwards to continue eating the other one, you should say Leishit Pasukah. That's.
But you see,
I think in Shach Hamayim he points this out. I think by Horowitz in his book. I think said it makes sense.
But you see, the Rambam
conceptually, two different sukkahs. It's like a 7-foot division.
You see that the Rambam conceptually is making a chilik. That he's saying that Leishit Pasukah, Matzat Sukkah, Atzmo, you have to make Leishit Pasukah, right? And what we do is it's that our Leishit Pasukah is totally on the chashivas of what you eat, whether it's wine, mezainis, or hamoitzi. Why? But you see that it's a chilik conceptually. It's a whole different chilik.
Because eating is more of a main verb. That's the verb. But okay, it comes out that we're supposed to make kiddush standing up. You make the bracha Leishit Pasukah, then sit down. After to say Shechiyanu. This is my minig of my teachers and the Rabbanim of Spain. The Kaddish Mu'ud Bil Rishon Shel Sukkahs to make kiddush standing the first night of Sukkahs. As we said, Yud Gimel. The Rambam is saying something unique because the Chayra, most of Klal Yisrael makes kiddush sitting down. So the first
even before the night.
Yeah, I think it's the Lubavitch. I think the Altam Shulchan Aruch says make kiddush sitting down. That's you stand up and you make the bracha Hagaf and you sit down, and then you make the bracha sitting down. Here, you sound like the first night of Sukkot is unique for some reason. I guess to contrast Leishit Pasukah with Kiddush, because you sit Leishit Pasukah, so you stand for Kiddush. That's okay. All right, you give them. Nowadays, we do make 2 days of Yom Leishit Pasukah is the end of the Sukkah for 8 days. Now, usually the last day of Yom Tif is Medares, just a regular weekday. We make it into a Yom Tif. Here, it's a Yom Tif Ateret, it's Shmini Atzeres. We make Shmini Atzeres the Sukkahs. So the 8th day, which is the first day or the only day. Well, the first day of the Rabbanon of Shmini Atzeres, because the second day of Shmini Atzeres is Sukkah. We do sit in the Sukkah. We don't say bracha Leishit Pasukah. Why? So now the problem is baltosif. Again, you're adding to the mitzvah. You're being mezalzel shmir atzeres by saying today is not shmir atzeres, today is sukkahs. So by going to the sukkah to eat without a bracha, it's not so blatant. That's what you don't shake v'lulav nesri. That's more blatant. It's like you're saying it's sukkah. It's sukkahs. Here you're saying, okay, I found a place to eat. It's not my usual place, but it's not so blatant. The bracha will be more blatant. So that's why we don't say shake v'lulav nesri. We don't say leish sukkah, but we do eat the sukkah because of the sukkah. Which is what they did in Chutz La'aretz was bias. They didn't know when it was. Yeah, they didn't take v'lulav nesri.
It was always Suffolk Yaima.
V'lulav nesri is nekanli but kol shiva.
So did they take v'lulav nesri back in the bracha? I don't know. Could be it's muksa. I'm not sure. I don't know if they did that. But okay.
V'lulav nesri added a picture.
Yeah. Okay. The is a person who's not sure if they're male or female. You don't say the bracha sukkah because the suffix bracha l'hakel. The patient is chayav l'suffix. It's only doubt. If bracha l'suffix, you don't say the bracha if you're not sure if you're obligated. The Shem Zeh maybe taken in vain. You doubt it. A person finishes even on the 8th day, right? In Chutz La'aretz. Then at the end of the afternoon, he can bring his kalim inside the house. This kalim doesn't have a place to bring his kalim. So and again, that same problem is that by leaving his kalim in the sukkah and using the sukkah with his vessels, it looks like he is adding to the day of sukkahs by sitting on Shemir Atzeres. So in the Hayisa Katana is a small sukkah. Machas Bamaner, he brings into it. That way, it shows he's not dwelling there comfortably. Earlier, the Rambam brings this eitzah in the case where he spoke about a Eretz Yisrael Gufa when you're trying to show you're not sitting in the sukkah an extra day. But here he brings this eitzah. Okay. Hayisa Katana was a large sukkah. Machas Bakader Sukkah. You can bring into it pots and pans and things like that. You don't normally have on your dining table. To emphasize that it is possible and the mitzvah is completed already. Today's a chostera, it's not shmir atzeres, there's no mitzvah sukkah. Okay, because it's yomtiv and yachal l'chleis. So because it's exactly okay,
you can't have it both ways.
It's yomtiv, you can't be passive. Exactly, chsachas muktzah. Misha loy also sukkah. Someone did not make a sukkah. Deliberately or unintentionally. It's for the rest of yomtiv. I feel again, assuming he's going to use it for eating. I feel be a safe him even, or actually no. According to Rambam, you have to make because people can't sleep, not sleep all yontif, so he has to make it for sleeping. I feel be safe even if it's a 7th day at the end, he should still make a sukkah. If you're going to eat there, because the mitzvah is all 7 days till the 7th day is over. I'd say sukkah. The wood of the sukkah, which is side the wall, side the schach, are certain kol shmeis and also to be used anything else. All it is a sukkah. If you want to take a splinter from the wall to use a toothpick, you want to take a wall down just to bar for something else, put it back later. You can't do that. Benas the front is that's the schach, whether it's the walls or the schach. And you can't make a tanai over here, it doesn't help. You can't benefit from them for any other purpose all 8 days. Because the whole 7 days, the sukkah is muktzah, not just till shkia, but till nightfall, till 3 stars come out. Now at that point, it's also suffix b'shmir atzeres. So the fact that it might still be sukkah means you can't use the sukkah. The fact that it might be shmir atzeres means it's muktzah for the next day as well. Since it's muktzah for the 8th day, muktzah is called it's muktzah for the entire 8th day, and therefore it's muktzah for the whole yontif. Because this is what Perek does. Design. The chayin is similar. All the mashkin food and drink shetelim b'sukkah k'lenaisa. Things you hang on the sukkah to beautify it, to decorate it. The Velta you have all kinds of different spices and things they hang. Also, the shtapim hem kol shmei now use them all days of sukkahs. If he made it tonight when he hung them up and he said, I'm not separating myself from these things. I'm going to theoretically use it the entire time when Sukkot is beginning, or the entire time spent between sunset and nightfall. Then it does not become muktzah. Whenever the onset of Sukkot is, sometime between sunset and nightfall. Whatever that time is, he already said, I'm not remove myself from it. Therefore, you can use it the entire Sukkot. If he did not let them become muktzah, the kedusha of Sukkah did not encompass them. He's not considered part of it. Therefore, he's allowed to use it the rest of Yom Tov.
Tomorrow, Instead of talking so much about
But I think the rest can be the rest has to be cautious.
Das ein Pesach.
So that's just simple. They count Erba Union as well.
Oh, they do
They do count, yeah. Like for the Gestorbenen, why you counted this when they're going to. The answer is because do you remember when it says in the Pasuk, what did Yudah tell Oinon why to marry Tom?
Why? Because he was like.
No, because he came to replace his brother.
Married her, and he had his kids, so his kids, so to speak, continued the name of his own children. So they came in, it's like the entire house.
Like everyone was still.
Exactly. So they counted for eight. Now
Shayla probably died already.
No, they count Shayla as well.
Shayla,
Yeah, I think so.
so you're saying with Ed Einon,
Then you do
you
it.
have Shleishim B'Shalosh.
Correct.
From
Yankiv is not counted. Actually, it's a different portion.
But they're still missing. All the Mepharshim say one is missing, and that's HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself.
So there's a various Mepharshim. Some Mepharshim say it's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Some say it's Yankiv is now